Yo, what's happening? Smoking with Too Tall. Sit next to me, introduce yourself and drop your socials.
Yeah, it's a Hip Hop IQ. You can find me on Hip Hop IQ on, Instagram, pretty much any social media outlet, all the streaming platforms. Just doing my thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so I peeped that you just recently finished, it was like a 100-day challenge trying to get signed to a record label. Tell me a little bit about that and how that went.
It was kind of funny. Like I'd been rapping like my whole adult life, right? And most everything I do it on a Mac or little program, and I just keep it for myself. The family would listen to it, and I got into actual like a job, but I would just record and write music for myself for the last like 20 years. And so I've just been doing this, getting better, honing my skills. And now I've got kids, and one of them's 15 years old or so, and he's like, "Are you ever going to do anything with this stuff?" Or like, "You're good." I'm like, "Man, I'm not going to be like a rapper. Like, I'm not legitimate." And he's like, "Dude, you should just try. Like, just go do something." And so I was like, "All right, let's set a goal of, I don't know, 100 days from now, kind of like training for a marathon."
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, in 100 days, if I practiced or put like specific effort every single day, let's set a crazy goal. Could I get on the radio? Or could I sign a record deal? Or, you know what I mean? Who knows? And so we kind of came up with this, let's push to see if we can get signed to a record company within 100 days. Every day I'll update the social media, and everyone will watch like me stepping into a studio for the first time and like learning, oh, okay, now this has to be mixed and mastered. Who do I go to for that? And like kind of uncovering how this whole industry works. And within 100 days, let's see how far we can get and if it's even possible to get signed or like how far we can get from it. So it was a crazy journey.
Hell yeah.
It
And
was a
so
lot of
what
fun.
what did you learn from that journey? What was your takeaway by the end of it?
So many lessons, man. Like it's my respect for independent artists has like skyrocketed. Because as a kid, it was always like, oh, okay, if someone's really good, they get signed to, No Limit Records, and they get the No Limit chain, and all of a sudden they're made and they put out all this music. And now, like, you don't have to do that. Everything's at your fingertips. And so you don't need the backing of this massive label. But at the same time, being an independent artist, you're doing everything yourself. You're like not just making music, but you're wearing 100 different hats, and you have to be a master of like monetization and you know, all the specifics as far as social media campaigns and like everything behind it. So to get a lot of traction independently, you got to put in work. Like it's a full time freaking job. It's not just someone discovers you and all of a sudden you're famous.
Mm.
So learning the specifics and the ins and outs of all that stuff, I had to learn, how to put out a decent product. And then it's like, how do I actually get people to see what this product is? And so you're, figuring out reels and you're figuring out, I don't know, other campaigns and stuff to get people bought into your cause. And it was kind of nice that 100-day challenge was kind of like my cause, right? So I could put that on social media and I got a lot of attention to, I don't know, people just wanted to see how far I could push it and where it would end up. It was kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so what kind of advice would you give to independent artists just starting out?
Just treat it like a job,
Mm.
right? I think artists are really, it's tough because to be an artist, most of the time you have talent, right? Or you have like a passion for creating music. And the hope is that let me just create this music good enough that people will respond to it. And so they end up putting everything else off to the side and just focusing on the music so much, which is important. But if you're not actively learning new skills about marketing and about what makes a good video and what the algorithms look for social media and like how to figure out and do the math on how much money to spend in campaigns versus are you depending on streaming? Are you depending on merch? So there's all these other things that you have to be actively learning. You can't just be an artist anymore and hope that the rest figures itself out if you're going to get anywhere. So don't get so solely focused on the music that you forget about all this other stuff. Otherwise, you end up just making great music for yourself to hear and nobody else.
Right. And so I'm looking at the cover arts right now for your releases. You got Street Fighter character Blanca, and
Yeah.
he's holding, you know what I'm saying, even the monster drink that you're sipping on right now, yo.
White Monster.
Tell me a little bit about, that track and how it came together.
I mean, I'm old, right? Like I'm 40 plus years old or whatever. And so that was one tricky thing about coming into the industry was that I'm no longer really relevant, right? And if I'm being honest, like I'm a suburban white kid who does like new metal hip hop. Even if I was young, I'm not that relevant in that space. And so for me, I can either take one of two roads. Like I can do what's popular and pretend and, you know what I mean, try to fit in a room where I don't fit in, or I can just be authentic me and just kind of do what I do. And there's, I mean, 9 billion people in the world. There's enough people out there that I'm going to connect with, you know, a pretty decent group. It's just a matter of me being as authentic as I can and finding them. So the Blanca idea, like I love Street Fighter. I grew up, you know, in the 80s, 90s, and like that was the game. I love White Monster. I had a really cool chopper style track that I really liked. I laid it down, and one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time is King Crooked.
Mm.
Crooked Eye from like late Death Row in the 90s, Slaughterhouse, all that stuff. And so I was like, oh man, if I could get him on this track and then make it memorable for people. And there's, you know, some references to like energy and the idea is kind of like I'm the white monster, right?
Right.
And so it's like, oh, Blanca would be really cool. And so we came up with this concept of like a Street Fighter type song, and you know the shocking and energy and all that kind of stuff. It just played out kind of fun where that connects with a ton of people my age, but just makes it fun and memorable to have people get into the song. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, even that transcends, like, people outside your age, like, people still play, like, Street Fighter and shit, like, it's still a game that's coming out and shit.
Like, do they? I
So
don't know.
yeah, yeah, people do, so it's like, it transcends that. So tell me about this other single that you have, "Going Nowhere" with Bizarre on the feature, how'd that one come together?
Going Nowhere, that's really like it's more of a lyrical track that tells a story of who I am in this space. Like I'm the elephant in the room. When I'm in there, like I don't really belong in this hip hop industry, especially when I'm trying to connect with big legitimate artists, D12, you know what I mean? Like these guys that have done this for a long time. My style is kind of a new metal, like punchy guitar riffs and that kind of stuff. But unlike the like Linkin Parks and Limp Bizkits and Rage Against the Machine and that kind of stuff, similar sound, but I just love like lyrical cadences and like I don't know, all the different double entendres and like that kind of stuff that comes with a real lyrical like New York style hip hop. And so if I can bring that to this new metal kind of feel, that's where like I operate the best. And so me trying to figure out how to make songs that do that kind of thing. The going nowhere idea with that single that I put out was let's get an established rapper, someone really memorable. Bizarre has the most off the wall weird flow that's like really memorable, but it's a lot of times cheesy. But if I'm bringing like really cool bars and stuff along with it, the song just came together really well. Where now I've got legitimate hip hop over this like kind of cool punchy rock instrumental, and then I can kind of bridge the gap between those two and make it a pretty cool song, which worked out pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So who would you say then are some of your influences in the hip hop world and in the metal rock world?
you know, I mean, growing up when I did, it was Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera. And then it got into more of the new metal kind of stuff with, you know, Linkin Park and Deftones and Stain and Corn and like all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
there's that side of me that is still very much into rock and that kind of stuff. But rock right now, I feel like rock's kind of dead. It's definitely not like it was in the 90s when everything was in that direction. And then hip hop, you know, same kind of thing. Like I was raised in the golden era of boom bap, like lyrical hip hop. And so Wu Tang, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and then even getting into like more technical stuff with like Busta Rhymes and Tech Nine and Hobson and like a lot of these other styles where I can never really decide where I am just because I love both of them so much.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of people out there that infuse that stuff kind of well. Like Cypress Hill,
Yep.
they do a lot of like rock kind of stuff,
Yeah.
which I love. Like I wish there was more of that going on. Tech Nine had a hard time getting signed when he first started
Yeah. Yeah.
because he had a lot of rock stuff going on that no one knew what box to put him in.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, this is strange music. I'll do my own freaking thing. And now he's crushing it.
Right.
So for me, it's just more a pain point where there's not enough of that music around. So let's revitalize it a little bit.
Right.
Let's get
Fill
it
the
popular
gap.
again.
Hell yeah. And so, what are some of your future releases that you plan on doing? Like, what kind of sounds do you plan on delving into?
You know, I like kind of developing this style that I've got right now.
Mm.
I mean, I've only put out 2 singles, right? I've been attacking this music industry for what, 3 months now is all. So I'm
Yeah.
still relatively new. I've got a handful of beats. I'm working with some of the good established producers. C. Lance,
Yeah.
my shirt actually, it's C. Lance is one of them where
Okay.
he's done tons of production for like Vinnie Paz and Army of the Pharaohs and Apathy and Mercules, like just a really good established guy. And so I'm getting a lot of my beats kind of working closely with him for this new metal kind of sound. We'll probably keep this up for, a handful of singles, 10, 15 or so, and just really get that sound going. And I am really loving reaching out to all these big time artists and getting them involved. So I want to run with that for, I mean, the next year or so, which on the one hand, it kind of scratches that itch of satisfying the teenage kid in me that likes listen to all these artists growing up. So I'm
Yeah.
having a ton of fun with that. But as it grows, you know what I mean, putting out more singles, albums, all that kind of stuff. A lot of it depends on the response. But I don't really see myself changing my style because it's like, oh, I'm done with this. Now let's do trap beats like Florida. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I kind of want to stay in my lane for what I enjoy, and if people connect with it, they connect with it.
Oh yeah. So, what's your recording process look like? Do you freestyle? Do you write?
I'm always writing like nonstop. So I've got notebooks upon notebooks in my notes section of my phone. You know what I mean? So in the morning when I'm on a run or something, um, I'm just always looking for patterns and do I split words and how do I like fit this with that? And so my brain is just constantly moving.
Mm.
So I end up having just tons of notes with funny, like awesome punchlines or cool concepts. And then over time, those kind of find their way into like a full concept and that kind of stuff. Um, so I like doing that. Some of it is good storytelling. Like I like storytelling hip hop.
Mm. Same
Um,
here.
but at the same time, I like stuff that doesn't make any sense that just sounds really cool and has like cool, word bends and different stuff like that too. So it's kind of a mix.
What's some of your favorite storytelling tracks?
I mean, you got Immortal Technique, Dance with the Devil,
Mm.
Eminem, Stan. Geez, Big had freaking dozen of them. Brenda had a baby, Tupac. Like,
Mm.
there's just so many good storytelling hip hop songs. And maybe it's just because I'm not as connected in like recent hip hop as much as I was, but I feel like that type of hip hop is just not as relevant as it used to be.
Mm.
We've lost a lot of that storytelling ability. There are some guys out there that do it fairly well. Joyner
I
Lucas
was
is,
just thinking that. Yeah.
yeah, he's really good with that kind of stuff, and so but it's definitely not mainstream rap anymore. Now it's club beats and catchy hooks and
Well, it's almost too like there's so much music that like so many niches have been carved out too. So it's like, oh, if you're into like this lane of like hip hop, like the storytelling, you do have like the JIDs, the Joyner Lucases, but
yep,
then you go over here and it's like, oh, completely Playboy Cardi, you know what I mean? So it's like
totally.
all the niches that we have in hip hop, it almost has like divided it. So there is no like mainstream, at least from what I've seen.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like these subgenres now where not only that, but because of the internet and accessibility we have, if a kid wanted to, they could be like, "Oh, okay, I really like, I don't know, Nas's first album. Let me listen to everything from that era." And you can get stuck in early, 1994 hip hop for years. Everything's accessible.
Mhm.
So, every once in a while, I'll find myself being like, I don't know a lot of Fat Joe's early Terror Squad stuff. And then I'll go down this rabbit hole and I'll spend 3 months just like uncovering this artists that I am aware of, but I didn't grow up listening to.
Mm.
So let me like go back in time and rediscover what that was all about. Um, I don't know, so much music, man. It's it's crazy.
Hell yeah. And so, do you have any opinions on like AI in music and like the direction that that's going?
I think it's easy for people to be like, oh, AI is bad, or it's like it's ruining this or that, because everything over time has done that. You know what I mean? In the 70s,
For sure.
you had like really authentic, everything was full band music. And all of a sudden, these clowns with synthesizers start making stuff. And it's like you're poisoning the art of music. You know what I mean? But then that evolves, and then that evolves into drum beats, and that evolves into like record scratching, into like a whole new genre. So even though I don't love the AI stuff, especially when it comes to writing,
Mm.
people that are chat GPTing verses and stuff like that, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it, that's definitely not me. I don't like that kind of thing because I like the authenticity that comes, from doing my own thing. But everyone hated auto tune,
Yeah.
and T Pain made a freaking career out of it. And so there's going to be people that just take this AI stuff and blow the roof off of it and do their own little genre stuff. But I'm a little bit more of a purist, and so I want to stay away from that kind of thing. But
Mm.
I still want to be aware of it because it is. I mean, it's the world. We all use computers now. We don't holding on to something too long and not embracing technology, you end up being irrelevant at some point. So at least understanding how it's working and what people are doing is important, even though I'm not on that train, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then what is your view stance on utilizing like autotune personally? Do you like using it, or you more so like, nah, I don't want, I just want raw vocals?
Uh, I mean, I'm not a great vocalist. And so am I tempted to like want to tune myself up a little bit or make it a little more palatable? Sure.
Mm.
But no, I don't use auto tune in my songs. I'm more kind of that grungy, rap metal kind of sound anyway. So it's not like any of these auto tune songs would sound good for what I do. So I'm not really dabbling in that much.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about, do you find it difficult to balance all this new like recording and all this stuff with being a father, or is it like almost a seamless transition?
I mean, not too bad. Like I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing stuff. And so I still work, I'm working full time. I'm a dad. I got 4 kids.
Oh,
And so
damn.
that keeps me very busy. But my kids know, I'm writing all the time in my head, and I love music. I'll
Yeah.
sit down and I'll play the piano on Sunday afternoons just to like plug stuff out and figure things out. So they know that music's a big part of my life.
Mm.
There's a couple of nights a week after everyone goes to bed where dad's downstairs in his home studio recording stuff that I had been working on, in my notebook or whatever earlier that week.
Mm.
So it really hasn't changed much. It's my kids are aware of it. They're old enough now that it's fun for them to be like, oh, how dad's always recorded. Now my friends see him on YouTube and like, oh, I can show them on Spotify, like this is dad. So they're like my number one fans right now, like urging me to do more because they, make it makes them feel cool when they talk to their friends and that kind of stuff. So they're behind me. It's
Hell
fun.
yeah. So then, what do you love about creating music, and what's something that you dislike about it?
I mean, the dis the dislike part of it is, I mean, really just the grind.
Mm.
And it's really hard because no matter what you do, I mean, if you love basketball, you could get signed and be a San Antonio Spur, which is really cool. And you put on the hat on draft day. But after that first couple of practices, like no matter how much you have a passion for the game, there's a grind to it. And you're going to wake up and go to work, go to the gym and do all the things, even though you're not feeling like it because, there's an expectation and you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, even though you have a passion for that. With music, it's the same thing. Now that I had this 100-day goal and that I understand what it takes to get music heard and that kind of stuff, I am learning a little bit more about what that grind actually is.
Mm.
And I have to remind myself, like, yeah, you'd rather stay home on a weekend rather than go film this or go do that. But this is a part of that grind. Like, embrace it. It's new, um, but it is a little bit different than just rapping when I feel like it or
Right.
doing whatever I want to do. It's developing a skill and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. So there's that part of it that I don't like as much, but I clearly know it's necessary. What I love about it is just, I mean, it's almost the same thing. It's like learning, it's discovering stuff all new. I listen to music differently now,
Mm,
which I almost don't like. Like I was listening to I was listening to a G Unit record as I was driving up here, and now I'm just like nonstop being like, did he just write this verse or did they include that because that's a marketable line?
right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like
Exactly.
peeling back all these different layers to the songs where back in 2005 when it dropped, I was just like windows down, like feeling it,
Yeah.
right? So that is kind of fun, but it's the same kind of thing like why movie stars sometimes don't like watching movies.
Mhm.
You know, they just see too much and they can't get into the movie like a typical experience, I guess.
Yeah, even me, like when I listen to music now after like making it like, oh, I know he punched in here, oh,
Yep,
here, 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 here. It's like, oh, like
totally,
now I hear that all the time. I can't unhear it.
for sure.
So you mentioned playing the piano. Was there any other instruments that you know how to play?
I'm like a B plus student in everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not a good piano player. I can't read music.
Right.
I'm not good, but I can sit down and I can listen to things and be like, oh, okay, here's the chord structure, and I'll like kind of dabble my way through. So if someone's not good at piano, they think I'm amazing.
Right.
But a pianist can look at what I'm doing and they're like,
Right.
this
Right. Right.
guy isn't it. Same thing. Like I play guitar. Um, but a real guitar player would know that I don't really play guitar, right? So, um, but yeah, handful of instruments. I'll dabble with the ukulele with my daughter, and just whatever I can get my hands on.
Oh yeah. And so I'm on the Instagram and I see this spin the wheel thing that you got going on here. Tell me a little bit about that. Was that part of the 100-day thing or is that something separate?
It's kind of separate. So looking at it's like not enough to just make cool music, but you got to be able to get it out there. And so your strategies are hope you get playlisted, or you know what I mean? Hope that somehow a lot of people just fall into this music. Or you can spend a ton of money like running ads and that kind of stuff and buying your way onto Spotify lists and all that. I didn't really want to tie up a bunch of cash. I wanted to say, hey, let's make some cool music and then figure out the best way to market it. And some of the best guys in the space to do this kind of thing is like short form content is where it's at. So these guys like Luke Gahn or Connor Price or Nick D, like some of these independent guys just make really good music. And they're like, okay, let's do like this short form content kind of reel idea. And if a reel gets a lot of views, that gives exposure to the music, pushes people over to streaming. And so I sat back and it's like, okay, what kind of content could I do? I don't just want to film a music video and shove that down people's throats every 60 seconds.
Right.
So I came up with this idea where I have like a spinning wheel and I put all of my favorite artists on there. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to spin this wheel, and whoever it lands on, we're going to collaborate with that artist on like a rock sounding song.
Mm.
And I'll put on, Royce the 5'9" and Jadakiss and Nas and I don't know, whoever I can think, Mystical or like, guys
Yeah.
that maybe I haven't heard from a while. I'll spin the wheel, it'll land on someone really cool, and I'll be like, oh dang, let's figure out how to contact them and if we can get a song out of it. So it's a fun like catching thing for social media where people are now engaged into it and it's an entertaining 60 seconds. But also, like now I can take that concept and when I call Lloyd Banks or something, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you've seen this little episode thing we're doing, but I'd love to put you on the wheel and it gives some exposure to you for whatever project you're doing too. So rather than charging me 4 grand for a feature or whatever you typically do, let's make this about getting you some exposure so it's mutually beneficial.
Right.
And so for me, like being an established, older kind of business guy anyway, I can take some of these things and now I can sell myself, bless you,
Whew, thank you.
but now I can sell this concept to artists where I'm not having to pay an arm and a leg for features because now I can sell them on this cool, real idea
Mm.
to where we both are going to benefit from it. So I can make really cool songs again without spending a ton of cash.
Oh yeah.
So the business side it satisfies, but at the same time, getting like the public to see what I'm doing and drive revenue from streams satisfies that too.
All right, everybody's eating.
Yep.
Okay, so tell me, Let's say we go like fast forward 5 to 10 years. Let's say everything goes in your career exactly how you want it to be. What do you want to have accomplished? What do you want to like stand for as an artist when people look at you?
You know, I don't even think about that stuff much
Mhm.
beyond my own like satisfaction and what I'm teaching my own kids. Here was a situation where I'm like a 42-year-old guy and had no exposure to an industry. And I just told my kids, hey, let's figure something out. Let's reverse engineer a goal. Let's go all in on it and let's enjoy the ride doing it.
Hell yeah.
Um, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I'm seeing very early like signs of success in doing it. Um, the fact that Crooked Eye knows who I am, or that I get a message from Snoop that's like, "Oh, this was really cool. Like, keep it up." I'm very satisfied. Like that is so cool that like where I am in 5 years, do I care if I'm, selling out shows or if I'm popular or famous? To be honest, I don't even care about that stuff. If it happens, cool, and I'll embrace it and keep the journey up. I'm not by any means like ready to ride off into the sunset, but I'm definitely loving stuff, just going one day at a time. And if I'm figuring out a lane for guys like me, or making it known that it's like, hey, if you want a new genre that you connect with, there's so many people out there that are ready to connect with you. You just got to go out and sell it and be authentic. Don't try, being anything you're not. Just go out there and do what you do. And if you build it, they will come, I guess.
Hell yeah.
So I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about the whole
Nah, yeah,
situation,
that's a
right?
dope answer. I fucks with that.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for coming out here. We're gonna wrap up this episode. Drop your socials one more time for the camera.
For sure. Yeah. Hip Hop IQ. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, any social media, or just look up Hip Hop IQ on Apple Music, Spotify, and stream any of the songs. They're great.
Hell yeah, thank you again for popping out. It's been an episode smoking with Too Tall. Y'all uplift yourself.